We're with Martha Plimpton today. Welcome to Gold Derby, Martha.
Right.
I wanted to tell you that when your show debuted over a year ago, I was one of the first people to say, Martha Plimpton's going to get nominated for an Emmy for this. And people were like, oh yeah, maybe, it's a small show. And guess what? Lo and behold, you were nominated. Tell us about, I'm sure you ask about this all the time, but tell us about that night, because that was a really funny acceptance speech gag that all you girls did on stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, what happened was I was at dinner with Amy Poehler and some other friends. It was a couple of weeks before the ceremony, and Amy and I were, just kind of gabbing about being nervous or whatever, what's the night going to be like, like you do. And we were talking about how sort of rehearsed and, how sort of it's not as spontaneous as it used to be, And Amy was sort of lamenting that because, of course, she's been to the Emmys many times. And she was talking about how she loved how they used to show clips of old ceremonies, like from years gone by. And she was talking about the year when Chevy Chase, who was nominated for Best Lead Actor in a Comedy, I think, got up when his name was announced and just got up on stage. And it was totally unrehearsed and totally unexpected. And, people were sort of uncomfortable but laughing and didn't really know what was going on. And then Tim Conway then got announced, and he got up to sort of continue the gag. And then Harvey Korman did the same, and they all sort of stood there together, and people thought it was a riot. And then when whoever it was that won, I think it was Chevy, they shook hands, and, he gave a speech. And it was this really great, spontaneous, lovely moment. Mm-hmm. And so I said to Amy, well, why don't we do something like that? And she was like, well, okay, but how could we make it our own, And then she was sort of brainstorming, and of course, she being the brilliant comedian and the fantastic mind that she has, she said, I've got it. Pageant. And I, of course, thought that was hilarious and perfect. And I said, yes, we'll get a tiara and we'll get a bouquet of roses, and it'll be fantastic. We'll all stand up there. Nobody will know what the hell is going on, and it'll be perfect. So we proceeded to get in touch with all the other women, and I knew a couple of them and had their numbers, and Amy, of course, knew Tina, and we just got everybody on board, and everybody said yes immediately. Before even knowing what the idea was, They said, yes, we'll do whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
So everybody was game.
Martha Plimpton, Raising Hope.
And then the producers of the Emmys were kind enough to help us out because we needed them to not show clips in order for the gag to work.
Yeah.
And we needed them to say our names live. So they accommodated us. They were lovely. They even got the tiara and the roses for us.
Nice.
And to be perfectly honest, it was, and the fact that Rob Lowe and Sofia Vergara were the ones announcing could not have been more ideal. Rob Lowe was hilarious. He totally went with it. He was perfect. And then, to be perfectly honest, when everybody stood up, it was one of the most exciting, thrilling, touching experiences of my professional life. And I just could not believe the company I was in. I couldn't believe how lovely the audience was, how game everybody was. It was just so lovely.
Yeah.
I just want to say, girls, everyone is a winner. And I know that you're going to go on to serve this body with distinction. And the Emmy goes to Melissa McCarthy.
it was such an amazing, funny moment from the show, like that I'll never forget. And it was really nothing, like, you know, but just you girls all getting up there and, you know, serious stage actresses along with comedians. It was just very cool. And then when Melissa McCarthy's name was read out, I remember just you in particular just seemed so thrilled for her, and that's always lovely to see. Yeah.
I really was. I just thought, I don't know, she's so hilarious and so funny, and she's been working so hard for so long, and I just felt like the whole thing could not have been more perfect.
More perfect. Well, now talking about Raising Hope, what is it like working on a second season show as opposed to a first? Like, how does it differ?
Well, that's a good question. Because this is all sort of new to me still. You know, it's my first series regular job.
Yeah.
I'm noticing that as the writers are proceeding, they're sort of branching out, and there's more of the sort of world of the town that our family lives in is getting explored. There's more sort of we're sort of out of the house more. You know, we're not quite so focused on the baby. The show is becoming more about this family in this town and the people in their lives, which I'm really enjoying a lot. I'm also noticing, just for myself, from my own perspective, that in a strange way I sort of have to work harder in the second season because I don't know, I feel more responsibility to the show. Not that I didn't before, but you know, when you're in your first season, you don't know where it's going to go. You know what I mean? You don't have any expectations. And now that we're in our second season, I really, really want to get a third season.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the people I'm working with so much, and I just love going to work every day. You know, so I feel like the stakes are raised a little more for me. You know, I'm more invested.
Yeah.
If that's
absolutely.
That makes any sense?
It does make sense. You've kind of already answered this, but I wondered, because for me, you're more renowned for being more of a stage actress, and you've done a few films and you've done some amazing guest roles on TV, but network TV just seems so grueling and exhausting. And whenever I talk to people who work on it, they always tell me, yeah, it is. It's really, really hard work. But are you settling into that routine now?
Excuse me. I am, although it doesn't ever get any easier. You know what I mean? Yeah. I think that because the hours are so long and so grueling, maybe there'd be a tendency to sort of lower your energy level just to sort of, you know, maintain your mind, your brain, you know? Yeah. But that's a tricky thing because if you do that, you could fall into traps. You could get a little lazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to do that. So, yes, it's grueling. Yes, the hours are very, very long. But the truth is that, you know, it's far more pleasurable doing this for 70 hours a week than it is a lot of other things.
I can imagine.
So I will take it.
Imagine having a job that you didn't like the writers and the cast was really irritating. So, you know, you've got to...
just misery.
Yeah, it would be misery.
It's extremely rare, according to what I know of my friends' experiences. It's extremely rare to be so happy in a situation like this. Yeah. And to know that the people you're working with are such good people. You know what I mean? So that's really nice.
That's pretty cool. I'm also wondering, do you get much response on the street from fans of the show? Like, do people ever say, "Oh, you're making fun of the working class," or do people get offended by that at all, ever?
No, actually, they don't.
That's good.
You know, that was, I think, something that people asked about in the first season a lot, and I feel like that concern has somewhat fallen away. People who watch the show know that we're not belittling the characters we play. We love the characters we play. You know what I mean? And so, no, I hope not. I don't feel like people have had that response this season at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so either. Now, we're coming up to awards season, and Gold Derby is an awards tracking website, so we have to ask the questions about possibilities for nominations with the Hollywood Foreign Press, and especially the SAG voters, given that, you come from an acting family, how much would it mean to you to be recognised by those two groups?
Oh my gosh, it's lovely. Listen, any kind of recognition from your peers or from people in your own industry is a tremendously validating thing. Of course, it makes one feel extremely good. It's not what you're doing it for.
No.
You know what I mean? It's not. It doesn't. I don't think about it at work, but but I think that no, it's extremely. It would be wonderful. It feels wonderful. But there are so many actors and so many professionals doing such extraordinary work that it's almost a shame to have to nominate just a few. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe that's why I feel like what we did at the Emmys this past year was so great, was because in a way we got to sort of honor each other and show each other how much we appreciate one another. And that's really what it's all for, right? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, you were nominated for a Tony for 3 years in a row. That's you must have been extremely excited, especially by the third time, and you're thinking, "Gee, can I just keep doing this?" Like, you probably got used to the idea, right?
Sorry?
Did you get used to the idea of being nominated and at the Tonys?
Oh my gosh, no, not in the least. No, that was an amazing feeling. That was an extraordinary thing, and and again, I was in incredible company all 3 times.
Yeah.
And listen, to be invited to that party is an honor and a thrill. To be invited to participate in the celebration of the season, to see your friends there, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To play dress up with all your buddies, it's really wonderful, and it never gets old.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can absolutely imagine. Now, I've got to ask you about something in particular, because when you spoke to my colleague, Chris Beachum, a few months ago, before your Emmy nomination, he asked you about the Goonies, because that's his thing. But my thing is, I love your role on The Good Wife. I think it is so good.
Thank you.
And I was so disappointed that you weren't submitted for Guest Actress for that particular performance last season. I think you were the first season. So I hope you might return. Is there any possibility that Robert and Michelle King might be picking up the phone, getting you back on that show?
I have to tell you, Robert and Michelle King are 2 of the loveliest people I've ever had the pleasure of working for. They are so lovely and kind and supportive, and my experience working on that show has always been just fantastic. Mm-hmm. So I hope that I will have the chance to go back. I really do, and they have been nothing but welcoming and supportive of me. I think I hope we both would like that to happen again, because that character is just phenomenal.
So good.
That character, I mean, that's a once-in-a-lifetime character, Patty Nyholm. And, of course, I would kill to sink my teeth into her again. But we shall see, I don't know. And all I can do is say, we don't know what the future may bring.
That's right. That's good. That's a good attitude.
Be open. And good happens.
Let's see what happens. Well, in that vein, let's see what happens with the Golden Globes coming up in a few weeks, and the SAG Awards in a few more weeks. We really do wish you all the best, Martha. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
I so appreciate talking to you. Thanks so much.